What's up guys, Chris here from Signs of Life. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to show you an incredible new technique combining the power of Vital with the sequencer Harmony Bloom. We're going to dive in on how to set up Vital's random modulation and LFO sources as triggers to create deep, lush, and evolving sequences with ease. Whether you're crafting generative material or looking for unique textures for your ambient tracks, this technique will unlock amazing results that you can integrate into your workflow today. So as always, make sure you smash that like button on the way in, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For even more content like this, check out my Patreon, link down below in the description. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, what's going on guys? Chris here from Signs of Life. Welcome back. And welcome to this extended ambient tutorial here on Patreon. You know, the other day I put out an advanced ambient tutorial here on the platform, and I was showing you guys how to do a certain style of sequence using phase plant. Now I realized that not everybody has phase plant. I also realized that, you know, I said in the video, you can do this same technique with Harmony Bloom and Vital, but the question is, how do you do that? So I thought I would come on here and do a separate video showing you a technique that you can use yourselves in your own productions. All right, so that's the game plan here. I just want to kind of quickly go over this so you guys can see exactly how it's done. I came up with part of this like right before I recorded the video, but I think it really works. So I figured out a way to do it, and I want to share it with you today. Okay, so that's the game plan. Let's go ahead and get started. First things first, let's set up Harmony Bloom. And you know, if you have Harmony Bloom, great. And what we're going to do is we're going to sync it up to DAW by using the bottom button. Obviously, we're going to adjust our notes here. I'm playing in C minor, so I'll make it C pentatonic minor. And the goal here is to create sort of a randomized sequence, but we're only going to use one trigger bar. You know, you can use this technique with multiple trigger bars. You can also send Harmony Bloom to like multiple instances of Vital that are set up differently. That's an option, but I found it works best with just one trigger bar here. So let's adjust the even offset, and we'll adjust the free offset as well. And we'll go ahead and add some more notes here. Our goal is to make sort of a sequence that doesn't really repeat. So I think that's looking good. We'll keep it like that. We'll adjust the loop length to 32, our note duration to like 5, and then our note minimum and note maximum, these are locked by default. So you want to unlock it and say, let's say our note minimum can be, I don't know, C2. That looks good. And then we'll go down to like, I don't know, G4 or something like that. So we're getting sort of a wide, like a 2-octave range here, and that's cool. I like that. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do to get started. So if I go ahead and play this, you can hear nothing right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add this to HB into Harmony Bloom and set it to in. And now over here, we should be hearing some sound. There we go, cool. So this is Vital in its default initialized state. Now, what we're gonna do here is set up some certain things to get you guys started. And first things first, go ahead and initialize the preset once again. And what we're gonna do here is we're going to set it as a sine wave. I found sine waves work really good here because they're sort of inoffensive and they work well in this situation. Obviously, you can change this to whatever you want. So what we're gonna do with this technique is I'm gonna turn the level all the way down. We're gonna turn on oscillator 2 and get another sine wave, and I'm gonna turn that down as well. So this oscillator is gonna act as our modulator, and this oscillator right here is gonna receive that modulation. Now what I mean by that is I'm gonna set FM to come from oscillator 2, and even though this oscillator is gonna stay off, it's gonna get FM amount here, and we can modulate that. Now in the video, I showed you guys how to use triggers in phase plant to do certain things. Like you can trigger things with other things. You can't really do that here in Vital. But what you can do, and this is what I figured out before we recorded here today, was you can use one of the randos like as a trigger, kind of, if that makes sense. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna switch this to sample and hold mode. And then down here with the tempo, you can see the slowest tempo we got is 32/1. But if you go one click lower than that, you get freeze, okay? And freeze can sort of act like a trigger because freeze is it's gonna hold that until it gets a new note which is kind of like what a trigger does. So what we're gonna do is drag this up to the FM amount here, coming from oscillator 2 again, and we'll lower this down. So now every time we get a new note, we're gonna get a new value, which is exactly the type of technique that I showed in phase plan. Cool, all right, we're off and running. Now, the other question here is how are we gonna get the level to modulate? And I thought about this too. So I was like, okay, what if you set up like sort of an envelope looking thing here, and we'll sort of set that up. How can we get this to be the modulator for the level? And I was like, okay, well, you can use different types of modes here. And I tried them all. But what I found that works was taking LFO1 and modulating the level here, obviously. And then we're gonna change the mode to loop point, okay? Loop point was the one that really worked well for me. And what loop point does is it takes a certain point along this path and it'll loop that until it gets a new value. But what can you do to change the loop point? Well, you can use this rando and change the phase of the LFO. This is really cool. So check this out. I'm gonna set this to around 2/3, right? So it's gonna loop from either here onward or the beginning. And now when I press play, check this out. So not only are we getting a loop point that's sometimes starting here at the beginning, right? Based on this randomization amount, but sometimes it gets a little later and we get a nice short, listen to that. How cool is that, right? So sometimes it starts here at the beginning, sometimes it starts here. Again, your mileage may vary. You can set this to whatever you want. How cool is that? Now, let's take this up a notch. So what you can do now that you got all this all set up, is you can take this randomization and adjust the tempo of the actual LFO. So check this out. And that sounds exactly like what it sounded like in phase plan, right? Perfect. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. When I pulled this off, like a half an hour ago, I was mind blown, literally. I was like, wow, it works. But how cool is that? Now, getting the speed here of the LFO is kind of crucial. So like you can set it to really slow if you want, because again, you're modulating the speed with this random algorithm. And it's set to sample and hold again. How cool is this? Oh my God. All right, so now let's really go crazy. So we got this all set up. Sounds good, love it. Obviously we're modulating the FM out here. Now, what you do to the modulator really does matter. So watch this. When I say squeeze it, watch what happens. You get some different sounds, right? Okay, so the squeeze amount could be modulated here. We can hold shift and modulate that by either positive or negative. That's cool. Love that. We could also filter this sound out if you want to, okay? So you can use a filter here, and we'll use this as our filter envelope. So now it's moving along with our thing. So we can take another LFO, set it to sync mode, maybe 4/1, and we'll modulate the overall position of the filter. So now it's moving in space. Maybe we'll do this 8/1. So we're really cranking it up here, right? Again, your mileage may vary on how you actually pull this off, but this is how I pulled it off, and oh my God. It opened up a whole new world of possibilities for me, because I was like, I've never used Vital like this before. This is incredible. So, look at this. Again, Harmony Bloom, just one trigger, okay? You could slow this down to 64, and maybe that might work better for your track, you know? Okay, we can use velocity here to do different things. So we can change the velocity, minimum and maximum, and now what we can do is set up in Vital some velocity ranges, right? We can say, all right, well, let's turn on another oscillator. We'll turn down the sustain here. So now it naturally falls away. And we can say, all right, well, let's use velocity to adjust the level here of this oscillator. That's cool. And we'll use, say, another wavetable here. We'll use like something from Anomaly maybe. There we go. Awesome. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So you guys see how effective this is. I mean, you can really go crazy here right? Now we can use another rando to like say modulate the position of this and sync that up. So this one's in sync mode, it's constantly moving. We can filter that out, put this through the second filter and use this one here. Maybe we'll put this in stereo. There we go. Cool. And again, this is all pre-effects. We haven't even added any effects yet, right? But you can hear how generative this is almost, right? And this is vital. This is free 99, as my wife says, right? So let's add a compressor here. Here we go. There we go. Little delay, ping pong. Boom. Very nice, very nice. Let's add a distortion amount. We'll put that before the delay. We'll change this to downsample. Maybe we'll put a subtle mix on here and we'll use velocity to adjust the drive amount. Put that in bipolar. There we go. So sometimes we're gonna get a really dirty sound. Sometimes we'll get a clean hit here. Maybe we'll adjust that with that rando. There we go. Oh, brilliant. Oh my God. Sounds so good. Oh, I love that too when it kind of hits in and gets really fast all of a sudden. This is super generative. Wow. Let's put an equalizer here. Just make sure that we're cleaning up our low end. Oh my gosh, I love this. We'll clean up the high end too. There we go. And finally, last but not least, let's add a reverb. Size up, time up. Oh my God. So, as you can see, like this is a really cool technique that you can do. You know, you can even like, you don't even have to use Harmony Bloom. You can use just, you know, random notes in your DAW. If you have Ableton, you can use Seed. But I'm using Harmony Bloom here. You can use Stepic to choose different notes, right? It's really up to you how you pull this off. But I just thought with the power of these, you know, random modulators here, put in freeze mode, that we could accomplish something similar. So hopefully you guys found this useful. I certainly did. I'm like, wow, this sounds just as good as Phase-Plan or better. Like, my goodness. I'll come on here and say goodbye. Thanks for watching, you guys. I truly appreciate it. If you want more tutorials just like this, feel free to join me on Patreon. I got tons of videos over there. I mean, literally hundreds of hours of training. I do presets like this. Maybe I'll do a whole preset pack like this for Vital. That'd be cool. A little micro pack. Anyway, link is down below in the description. And yeah, I'll be back again soon with more plugin tips, deep dives, tutorials just like this. In the meantime, take good care, you guys. And as always, keep your heads in the clouds and your feet planted firmly on the ground. My name is Chris from Signs of Life. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.